Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Another call to the believers that we might be familiar with, a call which we hear on so many Fridays during the khutbah, is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you those who believe, be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He deserves to be, and do not die except in a state of submission to Him alone. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he said, describing what does it mean to be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He deserves, he says, أَن يُعْبَدَ فَلَا يُعْصَى, to worship Him in a way that you never commit a sin against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيُذْكَرَ فَلَا يُنْسَى, and you remember Him in such a way that you never forget about Him in your days. وَيُشْكَرَ فَلَا يُكْفَرْ, and you're grateful to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a way that you never show any ungratefulness to any of the blessings that you have. When the companions heard this verse, it felt difficult for them. How can someone be mindful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a manner? So later verse came to make it easy for the companions, and through them for all of us, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. So be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best of your ability. However, this means we at least need to put in some effort to be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes we give up before we even attempt. We see something that just might show some sign of difficulty, and then we take a step back and we say it's too difficult for us. But we need to put in some effort. We need to take that first step, have reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the rest will be easy as long as we're mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best of our ability.